Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
Welcome to Fusion Mobile Biology Clinic. Today we'll be looking at recognizing living things. How do we recognize living things? Through the study of biology. Biology is a science of life, and it's made up of two Greek words, bios and logos. Bios, which means life, and logos, which means discourse. Biology tends to divide living things into two, which are plants and animals. Plants is the study of which is botany, and animals the study of which is zoology. However, living things have characteristics which are enshrined in the acronym Mr. Niger ACD. M is for movement, R for respiration, N for nutrition, I for irritability, G for growth, E for excretion, R reproduction, A adaptation, C competition, D death. Movement tends to say that every living organism must move from one place to another, including plants and animals. However, plants move by growing and cyclosis. Features include pseudopodia, flagella, cilia, fore and hind legs are various examples in animals. In respiration, air is needed in order to break down food substances and subsequent release of energy. For nutrition, food is necessary if life is to continue. Irritability. There is always the need to respond to both internal and external changes. Growth. It is very associated with increase in size, weight, and complexity. Excretion. Toxic metabolic nitrogenous wastes which would have been harmful are removed from the living organism. Reproduction. Young ones are brought to life by their parents to avoid extinction. Adaptation. For any organism to survive, such organism must have the ability to adapt to changes in its environment. Competition. Living things tend to struggle for many of the necessities of life in order to survive. Death. Every living thing is bound to die, be it naturally or accidentally or due to infection. A virus. A virus is a very small microorganism, smaller than bacteria actually, that is often parasitic within living tissues or cells. When outside the cell, it's particulate, that is non-living, but within the cells, it replicates, a form of reproduction for it. They are the bridge between living and non-living things. Also, viruses have properties which include, it is very small, it has either DNA or RNA but not both. It lacks the apparatus for protein synthesis. It does not reproduce by binary fission. It reproduces by replication. It causes many chronic diseases such as pox virus, poliovirus, rhino, herpes, papova, paramyxo, adenorheomyxo, picorna, etc. It does not respire, excrete, feed, and so on outside the tissue or cell. However, living things are grouped into two, plants and animals, and they differ in various ways. For plants, movements are restricted, whereas in animals, they move in different ways. In plants, the cells are rigid. In animals, the cells are flexible. In plants, they manufacture food with chlorophyll, and in animals, they depend on already made food. In plants, they possess large vacuole. In animals, they possess smaller or no vacuoles. In plants, cellular cell walls are present, but in animals, the walls are absent. In plants, they feed holophytically, but animals feed holozoically or heterotrophic feeding. In plants, glucose is stored as starch, and in animals, glucose is stored as glycogen. In plants, waste products are stored without harm. In animals, waste products are removed because they are toxic. In plants, growth is not limited, but in animals, growth gradually comes to a standstill. In plants, response to stimulus is delayed, but in animals, response is automatic and quick. In plants, however, grow mostly at roots and shoots, that is apical growth. But animals, they grow mostly in all parts, which could be called diffused growth. Most of them have characteristic green color, but animals possess different colors. The euglena. The euglena is amazing because it possesses the characteristics of both plants and animals. It is therefore referred to as a dual organism. You may ask, what are those characteristics which make a euglena a dual organism? The animal characteristics include possession of flagellum for locomotion, possession of eye spot for response to light, possession of gullet for passage of food as well as reservoir, possession of pellicule, possession of myonems for locomotion, presence of contractile vacuole for excretion, holozoic nutrition when it is starved of light. As for its plant characteristics, they include possession of chloroplast for photosynthesis, possession of pyrenoid. Also, it is able to carry out photosynthesis in the presence of light. There are different levels of organization of life and complexity, and it is as follows: the cell, the tissue, the organ, and the system. As one moves from unicellular to multicellular organisms, there is gradual complexity in the organization of the various levels. First, the cell. The cell is the smallest unit of life. It is the first part of organization, or it could be called the first level of organization of life and complexity. Organisms within one cell are called unicellular or acellular organisms, and organisms made with many cells are called multicellular organisms. The cell, as said before, is the smallest unit of life, and as such, plants and animals are made up of one or more cells. Examples of unicellular cells are found in Amoeba proteus, Euglena viridis, and Paramecium caudatum. Others include red blood cells, ovum, spermatozoa, and plasmodium. For the second level, we have the tissue. The tissue is made up of cells of the same structure and function, which are grouped to form a tissue. Examples of tissues include xylem, phloem, epidermal tissues, bones, cartilages, etc. Note, the surface area relative to volume is reduced due to increase in size and hence a lower rate of diffusion. This accounts for the need for specialized action of cells in the course of transportation of materials. But for cells, they have large surface area relative to volume. This makes way for faster rate of diffusion. Materials are diffused in and out of the cell without specialization. The third level is the organ. An organ is formed when two or more different types of tissues with the same size, shape, and function are aggregated together to perform a specific function. Followed by examples mentioned above. Examples of organs include roots, stems, and leaves in plants, eyes, ears, kidney, etc. in animals. The fourth level is the system. The system is made up of several organs which act together. Then, in one form or the other, they contribute to a specific function in the system. Examples include the digestive system, the circulatory system, the muscular system, transport systems, etc. Advantages include: there is specialization of various cells, division of labor gives room for efficient exploitation of the environment. 3. There is efficiency, increases adaptation to environment. It leads to increase in size of organisms. The disadvantages include: due to diminished surface area relative to volume, more effort is required for diffusion over the general body surface. The distance covered before oxygen and food materials are obtained by the constituent cells pose a lot of difficulties. Also, more effort is needed to eliminate waste. Energy and time are expended. Lastly, rate of diffusion decreases.